March 25, 1945. The skies over the Rhineland are gray, low clouds pressing down over shattered towns and scarred forests. A bitter wind cuts across the airfields of RAF Bruntingthorpe, rustling the edges of canvas tents and carrying the sharp tang of aviation fuel. Inside the briefing room, the pilots of No. 486 Squadron shuffle nervously. Maps are spread across tables, radio chatter hums in the background, and the scent of wet leather and sweat hangs in the cramped space. Squadrons are preparing for a routine sweep over enemy territory, a mission they have flown countless times. Yet, today feels different. Tension crackles in the air like static electricity, though no one can explain why. Flight Lieutenant David "Davy" Parker, a young but seasoned Spitfire pilot, tightens the straps of his harness. His hands are steady, but his jaw is set with anticipation. Around him, other pilots exchange glances, words unspoken but shared in understanding. The Luftwaffe is weak, scattered, and desperate. But intelligence has hinted at a new weapon, something faster, something unlike anything they've seen before. The ground crews finish final checks on the Spitfires, engines roaring to life, propellers spinning in a blur. The sound is familiar, almost comforting, yet the pilots feel a pang of unease. The war has already claimed friends, comrades, and countless skies, but today carries a sense of impending revelation. Minutes later, the squadron climbs through the cloud layer, sunlight breaking through the gray, glinting off metal wings. They scan the horizon, eyes darting, searching for movement. And then it happens. A flash of silver, a blur of speed unlike any piston-engine fighter, cuts across their formation. The Me-262 jet, a revolutionary aircraft, faster than anything the Allies possess, slices through the air with terrifying precision. The pilots' radios crackle with astonished exclamations. "What is that? It's too fast. Never seen anything like it." Parker's mind races. Adrenaline surges. His training tells him to react, but instinct and awe collide. For the first time, he confronts a technological leap so vast it threatens to rewrite the rules of aerial combat. Below, the ruined villages of Germany are silent witnesses. Above, the sky itself seems to shiver under the Me-262's passage. And for these British pilots, in that split second, the war they thought they understood becomes something new, something urgent, something frighteningly modern. In that instant, the question that will haunt them and the Allied High Command emerges. How can they stop an enemy faster than anything they can fly? By early 1945, the Luftwaffe is a shadow of its former self. Once dominant in the skies over Europe, German air power has been eroded by relentless Allied bombing, fuel shortages, and the loss of experienced pilots. Yet, in secret factories deep within the Reich, a technological revolution has been quietly unfolding. The Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, is nearing mass deployment. Its design is revolutionary. Twin jet engines mounted beneath swept wings, capable of speeds over 540 miles per hour, nearly twice that of a Spitfire or Mustang. Long before British pilots glimpse it over the Rhineland, German engineers and commanders recognize its potential to change the air war. Development of the Me-262 has been fraught with delays and internal conflict. Adolf Hitler, obsessed with its offensive possibilities, demands it be used as a bomber rather than a fighter, slowing production and frustrating experienced Luftwaffe generals like Adolf Galland. Fuel shortages and Allied air raids cripple factories, and few experienced pilots survive the training necessary to handle such a powerful aircraft. From the Allied perspective, intelligence reports of a jet aircraft emerge as early as 1943. Reconnaissance photographs show new airframes and unusual airfields, but skepticism persists. Rumors of superweapons are common, and many dismiss them as propaganda. It is only in late 1944, with increasing reports from downed Luftwaffe pilots, that the Allied High Command begins to take the threat seriously. For the pilots themselves, these technological developments are abstract until the first operational jets appear in combat. Squadrons like number 486 and number 41 are flying regular patrols over German territory, encountering scattered fighters and flak. They know the Luftwaffe is weakened, yet orders remain urgent: intercept enemy aircraft, protect bombers, and maintain air superiority. The Me-262 is not just a faster aircraft. It represents a paradigm shift. Pilots trained to dogfight with propeller-driven aircraft are suddenly confronted with speeds and climb rates far beyond their experience. Reaction times, engagement strategies, and even assumptions about what is possible in air combat are challenged. Across the Allied command, leaders like Air Chief Marshal Sir Arthur Tedder and General Dwight D. Eisenhower note with concern the potential strategic implications. The jet could threaten bombing raids, complicate air superiority, and force a recalibration of tactics if enough planes and pilots can be brought to bear. For those in the skies on March 25, 1945, the Me-262 is no longer a distant intelligence report. It is a living, roaring reality. And the moment they see it for the first time will be etched into memory, not just for its speed, but for what it symbolizes: the relentless evolution of war. March 25, 1945. The Spitfires of number 486 Squadron glide over the misty Rhineland, the low sun glinting off metal rooftops and shattered factories. Flight Lieutenant David Parker scans the horizon, his eyes narrowing against the glare. Then, a sudden streak of silver flashes from the clouds, a shape unlike any piston-engine fighter he has encountered. The first reaction is disbelief. Pilot after pilot mutters into the headset, "That's not possible, look at the speed." It's a jet." A second later, the realization hits. This is the Me-262, operational and deadly. Parker tries to close distance, but the jet accelerates effortlessly, leaving the Spitfires struggling to maintain contact. Witness accounts describe a surreal scene. The Me-262 climbs at a rate the Allied aircraft can barely match, its twin engines screaming in a continuous metallic roar. "It's like chasing a meteor," one pilot reportedly says later. "I didn't know what to do. He was gone before I could react." The Squadron Leader Thomas "Tommy" Hargreaves, attempts to issue orders, but even tactical commands feel inadequate against an enemy that redefines the rules of engagement. Break formation, try to anticipate his turn. But the Me-262 darts with impossible agility. The pilots, trained in dogfighting maneuvers honed over years, feel their experience rendered obsolete in the face of raw speed. Observers note their body language: clenched jaws, hands tightening on control sticks, eyes wide with a mix of awe and fear. Pilots shout into their microphones, half excited, half panicked, "Keep your distance. Don't get under him." The radios buzz with fragmented sentences, bursts of static, and the sound of engines screaming through the thin air. Meanwhile, the German pilots, few and young, are equally aware of the moment's significance. Experienced commanders like Galland had envisioned jets dominating the skies, but the tactical inexperience of many Luftwaffe pilots tempers their advantage. Still, each sortie is a test of technological supremacy, a glimpse of the future of aerial warfare. In that fleeting encounter, seconds stretch like minutes. For the British pilots, the Me-262 is not just faster, it represents the terrifying potential of science applied to war. As one pilot later recounts, "We knew immediately, this changes everything. The air war as we knew it was over." The encounter ends as abruptly as it begins. The jets vanish into the clouds, leaving the Spitfires bewildered, hearts racing, and minds already calculating the tactical nightmare this new threat represents. The moment is seared into memory, a mixture of fear, admiration, and dawning realization that the skies of Europe have entered a new era. The sighting of the Me-262 sends shockwaves through both the cockpit and the command chain. Back at RAF Bruntingthorpe, pilots return from the mission with hearts still pounding, their debriefings punctuated by fragments of disbelief. "It's faster than anything we've ever flown," one pilot reports, leaning against a table, jacket damp with sweat. "No propeller plane can touch it. We couldn't even get behind it." Commanders quickly grasp the gravity of what has been observed. Air Vice Marshal Harry Broadhurst convenes an urgent meeting of squadron leaders and intelligence officers. Maps are spread across tables, reconnaissance photos compared, and reports cross-checked against prior sightings. The consensus is undeniable. Germany has introduced a weapon capable of outpacing Allied fighters. Across the Channel, Allied intelligence begins reassessing strategy. Bomber Command, previously confident in its superiority over the Luftwaffe, now faces a pressing question: how to protect bomber formations against an aircraft that can intercept them at speeds once unimaginable. Tactical planning shifts immediately. Fighter escorts are instructed to adopt new interception patterns, emphasizing altitude advantage, coordinated attacks, and innovative approaches to compensate for the speed deficit. Meanwhile, at the front lines, pilots share their experience with peers in mess halls and briefing rooms. There is all yes, but also anxiety. The Me-262 is more than a technological curiosity. It is a game changer. Many pilots realize that traditional dogfighting tactics are no longer sufficient. Squadron leaders stress caution, avoid head-on confrontations, maintain formation discipline, and focus on coordinated strikes when the jets are vulnerable during takeoff and landing. German air crews, aware of the impression they have made, report their own accounts. While the jets are fast and deadly in bursts, logistical limitations, short flight time, scarce fuel, and inexperienced pilots temper their operational impact. Yet the psychological effect on the Allies is immediate. Commanders understand that even a small number of these jets could disrupt sorties, delay bombing missions, and force a recalibration of aerial strategy. Within days, the encounter shapes new directives. Reconnaissance priorities increase, intelligence debriefings emphasize jet tracking, and Allied engineers begin accelerating countermeasures. The Me-262 has not yet decided the war, but it has forced every command level, from the cockpit to air ministry, to rethink the very nature of air combat. By the end of the week, the RAF is more cautious in the skies, the pilots more vigilant, and the command structure acutely aware. A new era of aerial warfare has begun, and adaptation is no longer optional. It is essential. The first encounters with the Me-262 leave a lasting imprint on both Allied strategy and the collective memory of World War II air combat. While the jet does not reverse the outcome of the war, its introduction foreshadows a transformation in aerial warfare that extends far beyond 1945. Allied commanders quickly recognize that conventional tactics, honed against propeller-driven aircraft, will no longer suffice. Operational planning shifts to exploit the Me-262's vulnerabilities: short range, limited endurance, and the risks inherent in takeoff and landing. Intelligence units begin compiling meticulous data on production locations, sortie patterns, and pilot proficiency, laying the groundwork for preemptive strikes. Bomber formations adopt tighter escort coordination, emphasizing altitude advantage and interception strategies designed to neutralize jets during their most vulnerable moments. For the pilots themselves, the encounter becomes a defining moment in their careers. Flight Lieutenant Parker recalls the first sighting as a wake-up call, a realization that the war was evolving faster than any manual or training could anticipate. Across the RAF, veterans share similar recollections, all mingled with apprehension, a respect for technological innovation, and a sobering awareness that human skill alone cannot always dominate the battlefield. Historians note that the Me-262 accelerated the post-war jet revolution. Its appearance in 1944-45 forces Allied engineers to accelerate research and development of jet propulsion, leading to aircraft like the Gloster Meteor, and eventually, the first generation of Cold War jets. In essence, the Me-262 becomes a bridge from World War II aviation to the modern era, demonstrating the profound impact of speed, power, and engineering innovation on warfare. Yet the Me-262 also illustrates a persistent truth: technology alone cannot win a war. Fuel shortages, logistical hurdles, and the dwindling pool of trained Luftwaffe pilots prevent the aircraft from achieving strategic dominance. Its psychological effect, however, is undeniable. Allied pilots approach each mission with heightened vigilance, while commanders reevaluate priorities, tactics, and the allocation of resources. In retrospect, the first sighting of the Me-262 serves as both a harbinger of the jet age and a lesson in adaptation. War is not static. It evolves with each innovation, each surprise, each technological leap. For the British pilots who first glimpsed the silver streak of the jet in 1945, it is a moment of revelation, fear, and begrudging respect, a reminder that the skies are as much a theater of ideas and innovation as they are of skill and courage. The moment the first Me-262 slices across the skies over the Rhineland is more than a technical revelation. It is a human experience, a collision of courage, awe, and the unknown. For pilots like Flight Lieutenant Parker, it is a confrontation with the limits of instinct, training, and imagination. In the split seconds of the encounter, they confront not just a faster aircraft, but the accelerating pace of warfare itself. Historians often emphasize strategy, production numbers, or engineering breakthroughs, yet for the men in the cockpits, the Me-262 embodies both danger and possibility. Their voices, crackling over radios, echo a blend of fear and fascination. "We didn't know what to do, it was like nothing we'd ever seen," one pilot recounts. In those words lies the essence of human response to unprecedented change, a mixture of respect for innovation and anxiety over survival. The first sighting of the jet marks the dawn of a new era. It signals the obsolescence of older tactics, the need for adaptation, and the realization that technological progress can redefine the rules of engagement overnight. And yet, it also affirms the resilience of human skill, ingenuity, and courage in the face of the unfamiliar. As the war moves inexorably toward its conclusion, the Me-262 remains a symbol, a reminder that history is shaped not only by strategies and machines, but by the individuals who witness, react, and survive. For those British pilots, the sight of the silver streak in the sky is an indelible memory, a story retold not merely as a tale of technology, but as a testament to human experience in the crucible of war. The skies would never be the same again.